Janavallabha Girivaradari Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Yamuna Jayurada Madhava Kunjabiyari Jayurada Madhava Jayurada Madhava Kunjabiyari Jayurada Madhava Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Jayam O Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Jayam Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Rajajana Ranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamuna Yamunatira Vanachari Yamuna Jayorada Madhava Kunjabiyari Jayorada Madhava Jayorada Madhava Kunjabiyari Jayorada Madhava O Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Jayo Gopi Janavallabha O Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradari Jayo Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Vrajajana Ranjana Yashodanandana Yamunatira Vanacharya Yamunatira Vanachari Yamuna Jayorada Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Jayo Radha Madhava Jayo Radha Madhava Kunja Bihari Shri Radha Madhava ki jai, Shri Prabhupada ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari 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 Bol. So we are reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, chapter 22, the process of devotional service. We will read from text 114 till 118. 18 is written on the wall. Okay. Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Jaya Sri Chaitanya Jaya Nityananda Jaya Advaita Chandra Jaya Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Vaishnava Sangatyaga Bhau Shishya Nakariva Bhau Granta Kalabhyasa Vyakpana Varjiva Vaishnava Sangatyaga Bhau Shishya Nakariva Bhaugranta Kalabhyasa Vyakyana Vajiva Vaishnava Sangatyaga Bhaushishya Nakariva Bhaugranta Kalabhyasa Vyakyana Kariva Vaishnava Sangatyaga Bhaushishya Nakariva Bhaugranta Kalabhyasa Evakyana Varjiva Ladies? So we start from text 114. Vividanga sadhana bhaktira bhauta vistara shangshepe kaiye kichu sadhananga sara. I shall say something about the various practices of devotional service, which is expanded in so many ways. I wish to speak briefly of the essential practices. Guru Padashraya Diksha Gurura Sevana Saddharma Shiksha Pricha Sadhu Marganugamana. On the path of regulative devotional service, one must observe the following items. 1. One must accept a bona fide spiritual master. 2. One must accept initiation from him. 3. One must serve him. 4. One must receive instructions from the spiritual master and make inquiries in order to learn devotional service. 5. One must follow in the footsteps of the previous acharyas and follow the directions given by the spiritual master. Text 116. Krishna pritye bhogatyaga Krishna tirtevasha yavan nirvaha pratigraha ekadasi upavasa. The next steps are as follows. One should be prepared to give up everything for Krishna's satisfaction, and one should also accept everything for Krishna's satisfaction. 7. One must live in a place where Krishna is present, a city like Vrindavan or Mathura, or a Krishna temple. 8. One should acquire a livelihood that is just sufficient to keep body and soul together. 9. One must fast on the Ekadasi day. Text 117. Datri Ashvattago Vipra Vaishnava Pujana Sivanama Paradadi Dure Visarjana. 10. One should worship Datri trees, Bayan trees, cows, brahmanas, and devotee of Lord Vishnu. 11. One should avoid offenses against devotional service and the holy name. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. There are 10 items in the beginning of devotional service, up to the point of worshipping the Datri tree, Bayan tree, cows, brahmanas, and devotees of Lord Vishnu. The 11th item is to avoid offenses when rendering devotional service and chanting the holy names. And today text 118. Avaishnava Sangatyaga Bau Shishyana Kariba Bau Granta Kalabhyasa Vyakyana Varjiba. The 12th item is to give up the company of non-devotees. 13. One should not accept an unlimited number of disciples. 14. One should not partially study many scriptures just to be able to give references and expand explanations. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Accepting an unlimited number of devotees or disciples is very risky for one who is not a preacher. According to Srila Jiva Goswami, a preacher has to accept many disciples to expand the cult of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. This is risky because when a spiritual master accepts a disciple, he naturally accepts the disciple's sinful activities and their reactions. Unless he is very powerful, he cannot assimilate all the sinful reactions of his disciples, and has to suffer the consequences. Therefore, one is generally forbidden to accept many disciples. One should not partially study a book just to pose oneself as a great scholar by being able to refer to scriptures. In our Krishna consciousness movement, we have therefore limited our study of the Vedic literatures to the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. These 4 works are sufficient for preaching purpose. They are adequate for the understanding of the philosophy and the spreading of missionary activities all over the world. If one studies a particular book, he must do so thoroughly. I don't know how you pronounce this. That is the principle. By thoroughly studying a limited number of books, one can understand the philosophy. Synonym can be deeply. Yeah. Deeply studying. Om Jnana-timirandasya Gyananjala Shalakaya Chakshurum Militam Yena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Svapadantikam Mukam Karoti Vacharam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatam Mam Bande Shri Gurum Dinataranam Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Shri Vasadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu continued to instruct Sanatana Goswami, and here he's speaking about some rules that we have to follow from the beginning of the practice of devotional service. And he enumerated how many? 14 different rules. So since Srila Prabhupada didn't went to comment the first rules, I don't feel to speak on this. I think we will stick especially to the purport of today. There is enough to speak already here. So when we start to read the purport by Srila Prabhupada, he says accepting an unlimited number of devotees or disciples is very risky for one who is not a preacher. Why? Because the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say that on the number 13, one should not accept an unlimited number of disciples. So this is an injunction. Spiritual master is not supposed to accept many disciples. And Srila Prabhupada explained also why. And this has 2 meanings. One is for the spiritual master and one is for the disciples. So the principle is that by accepting a disciple, the spiritual master is also accepting the reaction of the sinful activities of his disciples, especially at the moment of initiation. When the spiritual master accepts a disciple, is accepting to take the reaction of the sinful activity that he performed previously. So we free him from the sinful activities. I say especially because it is supposed that afterward, when the student, the disciple, promise to the spiritual master to follow the four regulative principles and chant minimum 16 rounds, then he's supposed not to commit anymore, to break anymore these sinful activities. Why? Because if he's breaking this sinful activity, the reaction go again to the spiritual master. And the spiritual master has to suffer due to this. So it's a very important principle. So the spiritual master has to be always aware about this in order to not assume too many sinful activity. And this is a burden. Burden is heavy, and it can suffocate the spiritual master if there are too many. But here Srila Prabhupada give the formula, give the way how the spiritual master can be, in one sense, protected from this. He said to preach. If you are preaching Krishna consciousness, then you are in one sense protected. And this is why Srila Prabhupada stressed so much that we should somehow or other preach Krishna consciousness, and we should support the preaching of Krishna consciousness. And the other side is the disciple. The disciple he should understand this principle, and he should understand that the spiritual master is so merciful, is accepting me as a disciple, is accepting my sinful activities for my spiritual benefit, so I should follow this. We should recognize what the spiritual master do for us, and in order to recognize, the first thing is to follow these principles. Because if we are not following, then we are falling on the duplicity. It means in one side we say something, and in the other side we act differently. And these definitely don't please the Lord. Krishna loves so much his devotee, especially the devotee that they are taking so much responsibility, and they are taking so much risk for their spiritual life in order to spread his message. Because he said in Bhagavad Gita, no one is more dear to me than those who are spreading my glories. So no one is more dear to the Lord. And definitely when someone is creating suffering to his devotees, then definitely the Lord is not pleased with him or with her. This is something that a disciple should be very conscious before taking initiation. Initiation is not just something formally, a nice ceremony, fire, and anyone, when they say the new name, they say Haribol, Mridanga Karta, very nice ceremony, but something very serious. So we should come to the point of initiation, and we should be very convinced, and we should be ready to follow these principles. Otherwise we will create problem to the spiritual master. So we should come there gradually, by following the four regulative principles. We should not jump immediately, from full sinful life to initiation in such a short time. We should build up. We should increase our sadhana. We should increase our love for Krishna, for our spiritual master. We should develop a relation with the spiritual master. And this relation is based on love and devotion. And once we develop love for the spiritual master, then we don't feel to break the regulative principle. No? Because as soon some doubts is coming or some my attack, then the love is so strong, then, you are able to give up. No? Definitely there will be always test. No? Before initiation and after initiation. Initiation is just the beginning, Srila Prabhupada say. Initiation is not the ultimate goal. Initiation is just beginning seriously practicing spiritual life. And attack of Maya will be there. So we should come to this point where when we are aware about what we are doing. We are educated, we know this principle, and we say, okay, it's ready. For example, in congregational development, there are different stages before to come to the initiation. And in these different stages, you see that the devotees, that they are doing the different steps, they are ready to accept the regulative principle. Never ask to follow the regulative principle from the beginning. You start with 1 and say chant and say read, and then 2 and then read more and chant more, and then serve more, and then 3 and then 4. And then when you are there, that you have the full knowledge, you have the full understanding, full, means you have more understanding, and and you have more love for the spiritual master, then you are ready. So this is something that the spiritual master has to be very aware, conscious, and disciple also has to be very aware and conscious. This is some natural law. Like there are the law of the state. There is a law that if you begot a child, you are responsible of the child since the age of maturity, they say. 20 or 18, depend on which country. In some more. Pay something, but by law, I don't know if you are responsible if he breaks some law. But till the age of maturity, then you are responsible. This means if your son is doing something heavy, not only you have to pay, but you risk also to go to jail for him. So this is the law of the state. Because you decide to beget a child, then you have to take care. You have to educate him. You have to give good example. Sometimes children, they misbehave because parents, they are doing wrong things. Then they learn wrongly. So you have to teach them, train up them. You have to educate by giving also example. And then at certain point, the state say, okay, now you are free from this. But for the spiritual master, it is never freedom. Once he accepts the disciple, then he has to accept, then if the disciple broke some principle, he has to take the reaction. Of course, there is a limit in the sense that when his disciples, they become pure devotees, then he's also free in one sense. Because a pure devotee will not commit any more sinful activities. So when once they asked to Srila Prabhupada, how many pure devotees do you have in your movement? And Srila Prabhupada answered, all my disciples, they are pure devotees. Wow. What means? That if we are following the instructions given by a pure devotee, then we arise to the level of purity. But if we are on this level of purity, and we think, oh, now I am so pure, I can start to, maybe do a little bit on my way, then Maya attack very easily, and easily you will start to break principle, and then you fall again to where you are. So, it's true what Srila Prabhupada said. If we are following the instructions of a pure devotee of the Lord, then we will be raised to this platform. I realized this very early in the movement. When I was a bhakta and they told me to go out in Sankirtan, and I was thinking, what I should say to the people, I didn't read all these books. I just read little bit. Said, oh, go out and just talk to the people to take the books. And then often people, they were asking, making question to me, and I was supposed to answer. And okay, I surrendered. I went out. I tried my best, and certainly I realized that many things come out from my mouth that I never think before, and seems convince the people to take the books, and that this is a proof that your consciousness go up, has been raised just by following the instructions. They told me you chant 16 rounds every day, follow the 4 regulative principles, get up early in the morning, do the sadhana and everything. And because I was staying in the temple, everyone was doing this, I was doing this. And immediately my consciousness went up. Immediately. It's incredible, no? But it's true. It worked like this. So this is a proof for me. We don't need to wait to see if this is work out. This, it can happen immediately, according to our level of surrender, according how we deeply accept the instruction of the spiritual master. And of course, in the beginning, everyone has to accept Srila Prabhupada as a spiritual master. And the authority, you need an authority that represents Srila Prabhupada, and he told you in the temple what is good to do and what is not good to do. And he give advice and he guide you. So this is how it works in our movement. And if you are living outside, same system. Take shelter of Srila Prabhupada and take shelter in some devotee that they can guide you. No? Can be a counselor, can be a senior devotee that he help you to grow in Krishna consciousness. Or if you are not living far from a temple, you can be connected to the devotee in the temple and the authority of the temple. You can still accept the authority of the temple also if you are living outside. It depends. But the principle is same. You need to be trained up and you need to accept an authority. So then, in the second part of the purpose, Srila Prabhupada say that one should not patiently study a book just to pose oneself as a great scholar by being able to refer to scriptures. This, it seems that is what we are doing. We are studying the books, and we try to explain what is written in the books. We try to quote left and right, but here say it's not so good to do. And then Srila Prabhupada again explained. For this is very important to read the explanation of Srila Prabhupada deeply in order to really understand. Because if we take only one sentence out of the context and we apply it in the wrong place, wrong circumstances and wrong time, that they change completely the meaning. So then he say, in our Krishna consciousness movement, we have therefore limited our study of the Vedic literatures to the Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu. These 4 works are sufficient for preaching purpose. So again, Srila Prabhupada bring up the preaching purpose. He said before with the spiritual master, and he's saying now regarding the scriptures. Why? Because the same principle is there in both sides. one spiritual master that accepts so many disciples for his glories, then it's not good for his spiritual life. It's not good. And the same is if we are studying books just to show that we have knowledge, that I know more than you, that I can explain everything, then it go to reinforce our false ego. I am so learned, I am so nice, everyone like me, no one can defeat me. No. Then this is proud. And then we become so proud, this is not helpful in our spiritual life. Then the purpose of everything what we are doing in the practice of devotional service, in the practice of bhakti yoga, is to satisfy the Lord. If we are not if we are not practicing in order to satisfy the Lord, then will not be helpful for our spiritual life. And so why we are studying? Why we are sharing Krishna consciousness between us? Jai Shri Shri Gaura Nitai Lord Jagannath Baladev Subhadra Maharani Ki Jai. Because we want to satisfy the Lord. How we satisfy the Lord? Again, the Lord say, if you are preaching my glories, if you help people to grow spiritually, then I will be very happy with you. So I know this is the desire of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I know this is the desire of the Acharyas. I know this is the desire of Srila Prabhupada and my spiritual master. Then I do for this. Because like this I can please them and I will not be risking to become proud by my knowledge. Because the purpose is good. So again we can see how preaching Krishna consciousness or spreading Krishna consciousness, to help somehow or other to spread Krishna consciousness, is very helpful for every one of us. And we can see that Srila Prabhupada is stressing this more and more. So, and he mentioned 4 literature: Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Nectar of Devotion. Srila Prabhupada said that if you are reading Nectar of Devotion every morning, and you are reading Krishna book every evening, you will never fall in Maya. So one can say, oh, we didn't mention here Krishna book. But Krishna book is part of the Srimad Bhagavatam, 10th canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. So when we are reading Krishna book, we are reading Srimad Bhagavatam. And there are also purposes inside. And so it's clearly stated here. Then everyone is attracted somehow or other to go and read other literatures. It is good, it is wrong. I don't know. Here Srila Prabhupada say, these 4 they are enough. In our tradition, in ISKCON tradition, is that if we go to see other literature, we should see supporting these 4 literatures. For this is very important first to read all these 4 literatures: Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Nectar of Devotion, before to jump and go to other literature. Because once you went through these 4 literature, and especially through the purpose of Srila Prabhupada, given by him, then you will understand how we can approach other literature. And you will see the other literature just to reinforce the teaching of Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, and Nectar of Devotion. For example, Sri Jiva Goswami wrote the Sandarbha. There supporting the main literatures. But if we go immediately to read the Sandarbha without not only reading once, but studying Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagavatam, Chaitanya Charitamrita, Nectar of Devotion, we will not get the proper understanding. It will not be possible. And finally, Prabhupada say, anyway, he said that everything is inside in these four literatures. Everything is there. Someday things, okay, I read 1, 2, 3 times books of Srila Prabhupada and he always repeats same things. You ever heard this? I hear many times. So once they ask you, Srila Prabhupada, why you are repeating same things in your purpose? He say, because you don't understand. Because you have not understood. Then need to repeat. According to the Vedas, to confirm something, you have to repeat 3 times. If you want to make sure that someone understands something, you have to repeat 3 times. So it makes sense. When I joined, they told me that you should read first Prabhupada books, no other books. Okay? And you have to read all Prabhupada books at least 2 times before to read another books. It was like this. I did it. And maybe it's one reason why I am still around. Yeah. And here Prabhupada don't speak only about reading. He says studying deeply. And the advice is to do in the assembly of devotees. Sharing the understanding of this transcendental purpose. This is very important. And he gives to us this principle in the practice, the daily practice. Every morning we are supposed to read one verse of Srimad Bhagavatam or Chaitanya Charitamrita. Early morning we are reading from Nectar of Devotion. In the evening we are supposed to read from Bhagavad Gita. And before to sleep from Krishna book. Daily, regularly. You see, on our level, sadhana bhakti is very important. We have read before that there are 2 ways to practice devotional service. Sadhana is part of the Vaidhi bhakti, and Raganuga bhakti, which is more spontaneous. So, but Prabhupada explained some purpose before that in order to reach this Raganuga bhakti, we need to go through sadhana bhakti. And one important thing in the practice of sadhana bhakti is to be regular. Regularity. So, not one day I'm reading 3 chapters of Bhagavad Gita and then for 3-4 days I am not reading nothing from Bhagavad Gita. No, regularly. Better you read 1 verse every day, but every day. Of course, if you can read 2-3 chapters every day, it's very nice. It's nothing against. But not this ups and downs. Because this is still influence of passion and ignorance. Passion and ignorance. I have no time, no time, no time. No time means influence of ignorance. And I have to do, I have to read, I have to... passion. So, maintenance, regularity in the practice of spiritual life is influence of goodness. And goodness is the door for transcendence. So, we should make a program in our life. If we are living in the temple, it's more easy. No? Because there is a schedule, there is a program. If you are living outside, you have to impose to yourself. This is my sadhana every day. And between the sadhana I can do other things. Don't remain much to do. But yes, it's very important. So we should concentrate in studying the books and sharing with other devotees. And like this we will be able to preach Krishna consciousness. Because Krishna consciousness is not just a question of going out, preaching, convince people about Krishna consciousness. Yes, of course, if they are bringing up some challenging questions, then we should be ready to convince them that it's not like this, what they are thinking. Somehow or other we have to convince them. But preaching mainly means to inspire people for Krishna consciousness. So to bring positivity, to help the people to develop interest for Krishna consciousness. And how we do? If we are studying nicely the purpose of Srila Prabhupada, we will get so much inspiration. And when we are sharing this with the people, they become very much inspired also. So this is the purpose why we are studying. Not to show that we have more knowledge than others. And this is another thing that I realized very early in Sankirtan. That sometimes people, they were challenging already from the beginning as a bhakta, and then I give answer, then another challenge, then another answer, and this. Then finally they say, but you have answer for everything. How you know everything? Say, you know how I know? Everything is written in these books. Really? Yes, you should have one. Then you will be able to find answer to all your questions. And this is not just a mantra. This is the truth. Everything is in these books. Srila Prabhupada sacrificed his nights, his sleep, in order to bring us to the understanding of Krishna consciousness. And Krishna consciousness means spiritual reality, but also material reality. Srila Prabhupada is very practical. He can help us to understand many things also materially, how they are working. Knowledge, there is not only spiritual knowledge, it's also material knowledge. We are not rejecting material. We are not rejecting, because this is an inferior energy of the Lord. But we should learn how to use. Everyone is explained. You see, Srila Sanatana Goswami, he used to go around Vrindavan. And everyone liked him. Still now, is considered the guru of the Vrajavasi. Everyone accepts Sanatana Goswami as his guru. And there is one day, every year, that is dedicated to him in Vrindavan. And everyone, they are doing big festivity for Sanatana Goswami. Everyone liked him. Why they liked it? Because he was caring for everyone. He was a renounced in the order of renunciation, fully renounced, truly renounced. But when he was seeing some grihastha, he was not saying, oh, this is a grihastha, sinful one, I should go that straight and not this straight. No. This is fanatism. He was caring. He was calling them by name. He was asking about their families. And when they came out with some problem, so-called material problem, then he was caring for them. He was helping them to solve. Why? Because he has knowledge, full knowledge. And his heart was caring about others. So we should preach in the same mood. a mood of caring of people. No, no, they are karmis, you should not look them in the eyes. If in Sankirtan you don't look people in the eyes, they don't care about you. You should take a book. No, you should look in their eyes and smile. This is the first principle. Right? Right? She is an authority. In book distribution, she is an authority. So if she says right, believe it's right. Yes. So caring. And we can be very helpful. Actually, we are the only one that can really help people. Not so much suffering now in this material world, especially in this planet now. So much suffering. And suffering is due to ignorance. People, they don't know why they are suffering. They continue to try to find this solution and this other solution and this other solution, but I'm 60 now, I never see that they find some solution for something. And don't expect that if I will come to 80, they will find some solution. No. Because if we study these books, we understand there is not material solution to material problems. There is only spiritual solution to the material problems. So we can find the solutions. We can give the solutions. Srila Prabhupada gives so many solutions, but people, unfortunately, they don't want to follow. They think it's so simple. So simple. They want to complicate everything. But it's so simple. And Prabhupada say, if it's simple, why you're not following? At least try to follow, and then you see the difference. So somehow or other, the key is to inspire them. Inspire. And we can inspire people if we are in good consciousness and in good knowledge. If we are in good consciousness and in good knowledge, then we can inspire people. Otherwise, they will not be inspired. So I end here. It's already 8:30. Let me meet till 8:20. If there is any question, any comment, any realization, please, it's the time to share. You want the mic?
Thank you very much. Алекса, скажите, пожалуйста, чтобы вы порекомендовали человеку, который пришел первый раз в храм.
Simple recommendation. Enjoy Krishna consciousness. Enjoy to be here. There is many ways how to enjoy. By taking Krishna Prasad, no limitation. You can take as much you want. No limitation at the beginning, for a beginner. Prabhupada say, you can feed him till he's rolling on the floor. No problem. You can chant, you can dance as you like. Nicely. You can stay with one devotee and talk all day about Krishna. No problem. No one will stop you. Do what you like to do if you are a beginner. In the beginning. Just get taste. And then the rest will come. The rest is coming. Don't think too much about deep philosophy and regulative principles, all these things come, they will come. At the beginning, just enjoy the atmosphere that there is in the temple. This is my advice. Now become serious.
No, I wanted to ask, what inspires you? Because I want to know about your experience to stay in Krishna consciousness and proceed, and your experiences. Because a lot of people sometimes leave and then they come back. But what would you maybe recommend to people, how to always stay enthusiastic in Krishna consciousness?
Thank you for the nice question. When I joined, I was attracted by enthusiastic devotees. This enthusiasm is something that we want in life. When people drink alcohol, they become drunk. They become